All right. So, in this segment, I'm going to tell you a story about the title of this segment is called Tickling Game. And as you might suspect, it's not going to be pleasant. So, here's all the disclaimers about child abuse, sexual assault, psychological abuse on a child, um, all the things. Trigger warning, disclaimer. Okay, so this these instances of are going to involve my father and my siblings. All of these instances happened in our house in Texas from when I was about 4 to about 8.5. Very young, very clear memories of this. My older siblings were forced in to participate in this really twisted, tormentative behavior by my father. My mom was always running, 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 going, going, going. From the time I was about 3 years old, she was working a full time job, doing full time groceries, doing full time laundry, doing full time after school stuff as much as she could, and then dinner, chores, and taking care of my dad full time. Okay, all of that is like 3 to full time jobs on this woman. I don't know how she slept, when she ever rested, and back then it was coffee and cigarettes. Um, and that's the truth. That's what I remember. I do. Coffee and cigarettes with this woman. All right, so it goes like this. When she would go to the commissary on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, commissary BX, whatever, sometimes it was really just because it was easier to go. I wasn't allowed to go with her, and she would leave me there at the house to dust the furniture or vacuum or something or watch cartoons. I don't know. And I mean, her life was so, she was a hamster on a wheel, always head down, keep moving, nose to the grindstone, don't look up, keep moving. And so she probably just needed a break, right? Um, and she would look at me right before she left and she would say, I can't watch you all the time. She would get in her car and leave. And there I would be, like a sheep amongst wolves. And not long after she pulled out of the driveway, I remember, and this, again, this period was from as early, 4 years old, as early as I can remember, to about 8.5 or 9. My my dad was living room. It was always on the floor. Living room, dining room, didn't matter. He would grab me by the shirt. He would just grab me up by the collar from the back out of the air, grab me, and then throw me on my back. One brother held my arms above my head. The other one held one leg out, spread eagle, while my dad was holding the other one, and he was right in the middle of my legs. My father was over 6, about 6'3", 6'4", drill sergeant, all muscle, one big mean muscle, just mean, mean. And here he is, in the middle of my legs, spread wide open, and I'm being held down against my will while I am screaming and crying and begging for them to stop. I hated to be tickled. I don't like anyone to ever tickle me because it triggers bad memories of being held down. It's very claustrophobic for me. It's not enjoyable at all. So I banned my children from ever tickling me when they were growing up. But they were holding me down, and I'm crying. I'm begging for my life, terrified. And my father is he's got basketball hands, okay? Really long fingers, just really long, lanky guy. And he is goosing me in between my legs and touching me and goosing me all in my privates while laughing and excited and like dangerously excited. And here are my siblings that he has forced to participate in this degenerate behavior. Absolutely disgusting. And my mom is gone, and I am frightened because obviously they're like wolves, just drooling, 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 ha ha ha, enjoying what they're doing. They're smiling. Sadistic, psychopathic behavior led by the leader of our home. We have no ability to question or stop any of it. I remember, if not every single time, almost every time, my memory is I would be so scared I would wind up urinating on myself while they were doing this. And this, of course, was, oh, sorry for the ugly face. Ooh, you're so gross. And then they would humiliate me even further. But at least they would let go and leave me alone. And it wasn't a tactic. I was truly frightened, and that's what happened. But they just humiliated me, and the same behavior continued. Every chance my father got when my mom wasn't around, he would throw me on the floor and do this. And until I was about 8.5 or 9, I'd gotten a little bit bigger, and one of them let go of my leg, and it got loose, and I kneed my father right square between the nose, and I broke his glasses and left a mark in between his eyes. And I don't know if he ever explained what happened to my mom when she got home from the commissary, but maybe I explained it to her later. I don't know, but that's when it stopped. When I smacked him right between the eyes, and that was no more. No more of that. That's enough of that. That's enough. And I was simply, my body was fighting back for myself. And when people other folks who understand what survival mode is all about, it's adrenaline, it's fear. And unfortunately, this man who was 10 times bigger and stronger than me when I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old could easily hold me down. And he was simply taking it all in. He was feeding off of my hysterical reactions of fear. This happened every day, not just with him, but with my oldest sibling as well. He had patterned his behavior on what he had seen my father do to me, and because my father was doing it, he had permission. Both of them alpha predators, both of them very misogynistic, very hands-on, incestuous, unfortunately. And when I was 18 years old, trying to get the heck out of the small town, that I didn't want to live in. I was forced, all surprise style and everything, with my arm pinned behind my back. I was forced to take my oldest brother to my senior prom. This same sibling who's 5 years older than me. We have a lot of the same facial features, and my dad and my mom and his wife were all there, smiling, taking pictures in front of their fireplace when he reached up under my dress and pulled my garter belt down with a big smile on his face. My parents had arranged this, and I had no way to fight it or ask questions. It was like, you don't question a direct order, you follow a direct order. My father had broken my jaw 6 months before. I had no way to question him. So this whole surprise situation, I just had to go along with a big smile and then get the heck out of Dodge as soon as, and I tried. Didn't work. Didn't work. Anyway, so I had to take this meat sack to my senior prom and act like everything was normal. It was a humiliation ritual, and I was never more mortified in my entire life. But at the end of that, I was able to move and go off to college and at least get started on my college education. And from college, I moved off a little bit further up to the next big city and got my first apartment there. And then a whole nother demon person came along and slowed things down for a good 5 years. Was able to get away from him. But the story about the tickling game is pretty sick. My dad was doing this sexual assaulting in plain sight, in broad daylight, and he was involving my siblings in on the torture as young boys, so that they were already desensitized to it and it was normalized. And unfortunately, this continued. I never had a close relationship with anyone other than my mother. Things in our family were very one-sided towards misogynistic behavior. And my mom and I were considered to be modern day servants only. Only. When my mom got home from the commissary, I told her what happened many times, but it never stopped until I landed that knee right between my father's eyes. I didn't understand the significance of it at the time. I do now. Breaking his glasses and leaving a mark right between his eyes, big deal. And he found out I wasn't going to lay down for him. I had to pretend and hide all of my resistance, but he knew deep down inside I was never going to conform. I was never going to allow him to brainwash me, and I wasn't going to allow him to treat me the way he did. Eventually, I left the entire area simply to get away from his ridiculous hazing and bullying of me, simply because I wouldn't go along with the cult. I wouldn't worship this man who was actively abusing me and getting others to do the same. So when I left the area, he decided his best defense was to smear my good name. He just continued calling me ugly names and speaking badly about my parenting and irresponsible and who's she dating now and And I'm like, always accusing of the accuser of the brethren, always aggressive, always blaming, always shaming. He didn't do that to my siblings, only me. Only me. And unfortunately, I realized in later life, in processing through these memories and factual information and studying my dad my entire life and my family situation, um, he just simply was threatened by females. He called them broads, but he would never do anything about them. He just didn't like women unless you stroked his ego, unless you petted him, unless you brought him alms and offerings. But you had to worship him, right? And you had to go out of your way to show him ultimate respect. Those are the women he used. Um, these are the people who were fooled by his image. Although we had to protect his image at all costs, upon threat of life and limb, I can assure you. I can assure you. He had shown me many times what he could do to other people and animals, including my siblings and myself. He had demonstrated many times. He didn't have to tell us twice. I knew what he was capable of. So, the tickling game, horrific, obviously. That was just one of his things he did in the daytime in front of, you know, made it a fun game, right? And I didn't understand till many years later how sick this actually was. This was ultimate gaslighting, sexual assault involving minor children in front of others. It was piling on this one, scapegoating one, targeting one he was. The women my father didn't like are the ones that pushed back on him, and they were few and far between. Everybody fell at his feet. Everyone fell at his feet. I was the only one that ever challenged him. And, all right. Be encouraged. Don't stop praying. Seek the Lord while he may be found. He is where you will find your healing. Be encouraged. What he's done for me, he wants to do for you. He has no respecter of person. He wants to heal everyone who will call on his name. So call on the name of Jesus today and plead the blood of Jesus over your life for salvation, healing, and deliverance. All right, till next time.